Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome in. Take your seats. We have a lot to go over tonight. Boy, you didn't think necessarily that things would get this dire this early, considering bringing in Tata Martino, considering a lot of the changes that we made. Just wasn't enough, really. Still, worst season to start out, and things aren't looking much better. This was a Columbus team that could be put to the sword. They hadn't figured things out yet. We could have taken advantage of that. They were winless in their first games this season, and we made them look great. That's the flat of it. You cannot do that when you're the home team against a weak team. You cannot let those points slip away, because Columbus won't let you do that again. When we see them again later in the season, I'm sure it'll be probably worse, because it'll be an away game too. I think that's right when we get back from World Cup, actually, so we have to look forward to that. What to look forward to as well is a U.S. Open Cup game against a USL team that now is starting to feel a little daunting. Kind of like in years past when we have lost against USL teams. We could be staring down that barrel again. Another absolute humiliation. And the hits just keep on coming. When it rains, it pours. Even when you get an industrial strength umbrella like Tata Martino, it still somehow gets struck by lightning and destroyed. His press conference tonight was pretty interesting. Said some candid things, not even really about so much as like red card incident and all that kind of stuff. Defending his player, Baez, in that heated argument that was, what you'd expect to see from a coach. He says the other coach kind of laid into the player verbally, and that kind of breaks a code of coaches of sorts, and you don't do that, so he went to protect his player. It's more so that when he was asked about, the intensity of the team, the spirit of the team, and whether or not they were still suffering from a hangover from last season, he basically said, yeah, we have to address that. We have not gotten over it. I keep trying to tell the team, this is a new season. You get to write your new story here, but it just seems to be hearkening back again and again. The tide recedes over and over again, back to the old mentality of dropping heads when things don't go their way. He noted tonight specifically the team went down emotionally, mentally, when they got, when they missed out on a chance at a penalty kick that they thought they were a bit robbed of, and when Columbus scored their goal. They just didn't really respond, and Tata noticed that. So that'll be something I'm sure he'll be looking at in the future for when players do that, and then perhaps they're going on a little list he keeps. And come next transfer window, you might start seeing some of those guys that made that list no longer here. You cannot have those types of players on your team. If you have a hangover from last season, I'm sorry, you're a professional. This is a new season. It should not be lingering like this. At least it should not be this easily diagnosable, and in the 6th game of the season, it's being brought up in the press conference. It's ridiculous. Before I forget, I do want to tip my hat to Sam Jones in the press conference tonight. Asked a very difficult question. So, holding people to account, to the fire. So my hat's off to him. Basically just, what the hell, man, is going on? Like, straight up. Let's talk about it. And, Tata basically just said, he just gave it was like a short one sentence answer that didn't have much in it. So it's more of a kind of a frustration question. But I'm still happy to see that was voiced on behalf of fans everywhere, because damn, we feel that. We have been feeling it for a while. And it just, even if it is someone beloved like Tata Martino, it still has to be aired, it has to be said, it has to be vented. So, just so I don't take up all of the rant tonight, I have some professional ranters lined up to help me with that task. Namely, and first, chiefly, is AJ AJ coming on to give us his copious amount of thoughts that he has on this game, because man, this is a game, in my opinion, should not have happened this way. This team should have done better here. All accounts tell me that this should have been better, and it stinks that we didn't have Galarza. I think that had a lot to do with it. Atlutd is just not the guy in this type of team, but it should have been better regardless. How do you have so few shots at home against a team that, yes, of course they're playing defensively, but not that defensive. They weren't like DC. Yeah, it's very frustrating. AJ, take it away. Help me out here.
Oh, where to begin? But yes, losing 3-1 at home is completely unacceptable. And after a completely bereft first half of any sort of entertainment or enjoyment, it really made the second half impossible to watch in some senses. Because once we scored, we couldn't even enjoy the goal. We immediately concede from kickoff. And they probably knew it. They probably knew that we were susceptible. And it's one of these things where Columbus, a team that's winless, should not have been able to, in the second half, make all the adjustments and score 3 goals. I mean, the amount of space that they received for either a cross or the second goal for the shot or the third goal, just being able to get right into the box right from kickoff is just, it's on a level of not only unacceptable, but damning. And what you're mentioning as far as, that hangover and Tata mentioning that he recognizes it, it really is that. These players that are exhibiting that fragile mentality, they will be gone very, very soon in the next transfer window, hopefully. Hopefully they won't be identified in the media, but it is something that we talked about infection. We talked about, a poison in the club. That's what it is. It is a loser's mentality. It is when you concede or you don't have something go your way, and you just allow it to completely just mess up the entire rest of the game. And we've seen it time and time again. It is on a level where even new players are being affected. I mean, it's something on a level I have never seen. Like, this type of bleeding of goals I have not seen on many teams. I've watched a number of bad teams, unfortunately. And this and last year take the cake. And when you have casuals on the train mentioning there are people that are saying, yeah, I feel like I could have done better tonight. I at least knew where the goal was. I overheard. It's the akin to, my grandma could have done that or whatever. Where everyone always says that type of stuff. It's tired, but this type of performance breeds that. Mm-hmm. And the aspects of what we can control, we don't. I mean, it's a mid-block that we're playing against. It's not like DC where they parked the bus. We were trying to find the space in behind, but we couldn't find any accurate ball in behind to be able to trouble them.
Yeah.
And, in that second half, yeah, at one point, our XG was a little higher than theirs. They took some low percentage chances well.
Yeah.
They were clinical. We ultimately were not when we were finally able to find some space in the box. But we're playing way too narrow. Like that whole left side, Miggy, we love him, but he's not helping us out. He's just sitting as that second striker. We need somebody out there as a winger. We desperately need to find a winger that will play in that space because that midfield is way too crowded. And when you're in a mid block and we don't have a target forward to hold it up, to be able to bring others into the game so that they might maybe one, be able to get in behind, one or two, we win a header, knock it down, be able to play off each other, play some combinations. I mean, it's just they can't find a couple passes in the middle of the park.
Yeah.
And it's just like we need a left winger bad for one, amongst a lot of other things. But, I think part of that has been solved in some recent games by Matthias Galarza because he is a willing runner. And that combination of Miggy, Galarza, and Baez were able to, create some chances in behind. But one player should not, completely unsettle it when you have, some other players that are capable. But, that midfield with Alzate, I mean, it's he every appearance seems more and more like he's a misfit, unfortunately, so far.
Yep. I mean, Alzate,
hopefully you can come good.
And Riley just didn't cover themselves in glory tonight.
Yep.
It just kind of got outplayed. I mean, a lot of the team was just outplayed. I mean, watching Stian Gregerson, our best center back, get bossed by their striker. No, you just can't.
It was. I mean, it's exactly. I mean, it's the players across the pitch have some soul searching to do. I know it's only the 6th game, but again,
hey man,
like I mentioned
earlier
this year,
let's keep the spiritual motif going because that's what Tata Martino wanted. He kept referencing they don't have spirit. There's a lack of spirit. They need to find their spirit. The spirit goes away when things don't go their way. There's a lot of soul searching that needs to be done. They need to reinforce their spirit, have some strength behind it, some courage. They're just, it reminds me of similar times where I've talked about how, a team seems to have a mercenary mentality. They're here for a paycheck, a comfy gig, play some soccer, and go home. They don't really care about the club. They don't really care about fighting. They're just, here to do with the job. Not to build something, not to ingrain themselves as something, as like a building block of the history of the club. It's just like a waypoint, a stopping place for this player until, for them to either accomplish getting a paycheck or moving on to something else. Now, I will definitely not accuse all the players of that like I have kind of in the past. Previous years has been much worse. I think a lot of the newer players that Tata Martino hires are more in the mold of guys who give a crap and want to come here to build something with him. But some of the other guys, the holdovers from other seasons, they are still that guy, those types of guys. And I don't think that they're going to suddenly develop a spirit and some kind of connection to the club that will make them want to just really win every 50-50, play every game like it's a final or something. You get bad teams coming up against you and they all of a sudden look good because they are fighting for those margins that other teams that they play against that are just much better won't even give them those opportunities to do the 50-50. They'll just beat them because they're better. In our case, we're not. So they get the 50-50 chances and they win because they're trying hard. And I just don't want to see the team not try hard. A lot of people confuse intensity with wanting to do well. I'm sure the guys want to do well, but whatever the disconnect between intensity and wanting to do well, I don't know where it is, but there is a disconnect, and it needs to be figured out. Because there's just either that or they're just so bad, and I don't want to admit that. I don't want to admit the players are just like that bad that even at their highest intensity, they're losing to bad teams on intensity consistently.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I mentioned earlier in the season where, it's not just a couple games. It is absolutely the echoes of the past are heavy. They're loud. They're frequent. And these players, like, it's a complete lack of competitive spirit, I feel like. Yeah. Where's the pride in playing for not only your name on the back, but the badge on the front? I mean, none of them really are covering themselves in glory. I will give some plaudits where it's due. Hoyos did decently in this match.
Yeah.
He made some saves.
Really dragging him, but I agree. I don't think he was just like, wow, oh my God, what are you doing? I mean, he was frazzled at some points, clearly, because of what was going on. It was just a systematic collapse. And yeah, you get frazzled that way. I'm not going to say that he was just, the weakest point and that's how we fell apart. So yeah.
Yeah, he made some crucial saves, and there was a one-on-one. He was able to keep it from going in between his legs. There was I think a number of, like, he claims a cross. That's a very crucial cross in there at one point. He makes another very, very important save. Otherwise, it would have gotten way out of hand. And yeah, plaudits where it's due. Yes, he still got 3 scored on him. I'm not so sure that they're his fault. Like, the defense in front of him, they're not doing their job. I mean, yes, his stats don't look good coming into this game, but he helped himself in this game. Not so sure the other players did. And I mean, yeah, I think there is something about the confidence from the back, and we just look timid. Starting from the goal kick, we just kept passing it back and forth from the back line to the goalkeeper without really finding an incisive pass, because again, we don't have an outlet, or we don't have the width to be able to create the space so that we can actually play in their third. And there's too much horseshoe-shaped passing, and obviously that's not on Tata. I feel like, I think that's, Tata doesn't want them to play this way. He wants them to be braver. He wants them to try to affect the game, more through the middle. But the problem is, it's just way too crowded, and we weren't able to find a solution fast enough. We finally, for our goal, we finally found some sort of combination play, in a sense. I mean, loosely, because there's a snapshot. Okay, and then Miggy was able to bring it back towards the middle, and Ranchuk, well placed as a, just able to poach that goal.
I mean, like, great pressure and follow up, but I mean, it's a junk goal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those. Yeah. One of those, like, oh, I see exactly what they're trying to do here. I don't really. It's just you throw something at the wall and hope something sticks there, and that doesn't fill me with confidence. I mean, yes, it could be a goal that leads to more. Okay, get your head right and you're feeling good, score a goal. Now let's make it 2. Didn't follow up with that. So instead, you actually get clobbered. Literally, a shot comes from.
Well, you got punched in the mouth
Mississippi,
immediately after.
Yeah, so just knocks you straight out. Sonic rings go everywhere. It sucks. I can't believe that's what's happening. It's just, it's too much, man.
It's the mentality. It really comes down to that, and it's a thing where I think I've mentioned this before as well. We need a team psychologist or psychologists. We need
a whole psych ward.
Everyone, right? Everyone needs to read some Mamba mentality, watch some videos, I don't know, learn from Kobe Bryant. I don't know, something, because they're not working hard enough or smartly enough.
Yeah.
With the right mentality.
Yeah. All right. So now we're doing the Asher. How you doing, bud? Welcome in. Wasn't a great game. Let's talk about it. How do you feel? What are you feeling now?
Man, part of me feels relieved that I could actually turn my TV off. So that's the one good part. I just feel dissatisfied. There's still just a bitter aftertaste from that game. Still so many unanswered questions. And part of this game was just on some questionable ref decisions, but most of it is just players aren't playing. Okay? We got one goal, and then immediately after they scored, and then we had no response at all. And we continued to just pass the ball back to Hoyos or Gregerson or Mihai. There was a triangle of those three, and then Muyumba every now and then, the entire game. And then just so many times, Baez or Jakob or Moranchuk's open. Sometimes we'll get it down there, but then we just completely miss. And they're going to score every time.
Yeah, there was such a disconnect in the final third, as always, it seems. Just guys just not being on the same page with each other, acting like they're looking at a guy that they've literally never seen before wearing the same kit as them. It just baffles me. It's just passing directly to Columbus players. It's not like it's an inaccurate pass. It's just straight to a Columbus player multiple times. I don't know, at least get it so it creates a fight where now that you have to fight the guy for the ball, but no, it's just straight to the Columbus player. So come on.
Yeah, it used to be a problem where we couldn't find maybe the strong foot of the player. Now we can't even find the player.
Yeah,
it's just
exactly.
We're finding the opposition, and it's just it's bad. That's on a level of even the worst coaches would be upset with you. I mean,
these guys are doing no-look passes, and it's straight to Columbus players. What are you doing? Just pick your head up. But they're not doing that. Yeah, it's very frustrating. Yeah. Asher, what do you think about what was the best part of this game for Atlanta? Was there any good takeaways from you?
Hoyos at least looks a little bit better than the last few games. He didn't have his natural mistakes, but Moranchuk is still the best player that we have, arguably. Those are the only two things. I mean, we know we can pass around at least. But not anywhere. We had 526 passes, and maybe 20 of those were in the other side of the field. And when you do that consistently every game, there's barely any good things you can have.
It's because of what AJ said. They hit us with the mid block, which stops a lot of that getting out of our side. So it forces us to recycle because it's basically forcing our hand to, hoof the ball over and behind. They're daring us to play us, or give us the opportunity to play the way that we apparently are trying to be built to play and that we can't play. So they're go ahead. Yeah. Let's see your $22 million striker beat us on a bald sprint. Oh, you're not even going to pass to him like that? Okay. All right. Yeah, keep trying through the middle. It is ridiculous.
There were countless moments where ELL was making that run, but they weren't passing it.
And then when he did get it,
his
one
first
of those touch is unbelievably bad.
Right. And I think that it's this vicious cycle that's just feeds into itself. But the issue is, okay, it's not happening early, and then when it finally happens,
Yeah.
He's lost the confidence already anyway, or he's, maybe held his run because, okay, I don't know if it's coming, okay, and then finally he does, oh, the ball's coming, oh my god, and then, it is that where, like, the heart's racing, and then eyes get big, and then, okay, I can't fuck this up because I only get so many of these. It's this vicious cycle that I think just continues to happen, and man, like, ever so frustrating watching them try to play to ELL.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think this is completely all his fault. Yeah, there's some bad touches. Yeah, there's some really just piss poor shots. But I mean, you have to play the ball in if you're trying to score. Like, it doesn't even look like
the Columbus
we're
Crew were
trying
daring you to do it too. They were like, go ahead, we're gonna play it, so you have to. That's the only outlet, because we weren't going wide like you were talking about earlier. We didn't have any options there. And then, talk about frustration. Asher probably can relate to this to a degree, because I know he plays soccer right now at like a decent level. I am a much older person now. However, if I want to, I can still get on the bike and run pretty fast. And it is very frustrating, as me, not a professional athlete, and a older than probably all of those players I'm about to talk about, that I can probably beat them in a sprint, or at least come very close. I don't think that's acceptable. When I see guys get beat in a soccer game, it bothers me, because I'm not a professional athlete.
Now, given you're not running 90 minutes plus, so that has to be taken into account.
Here's the thing. They're beaten throughout the match, in the beginning and at the end, when they're full up and when they're tired. I can also run when I'm full up and when I'm tired. So, like, it's frustrating.
Yes. These are the non-negotiables that you hope that these players absolutely understand. But it is also, you have to take into account Columbus as well. They can also tactics too, and they can also have talent, and they were able to showcase that in this match. And they showed that they were more competitive than us. They were more talented than us as far as scoring goals.
Yeah, the 6.4 million
be able to do that on the road
from Egypt can come in and look like he does our better impersonation of a $22 million striker than we have.
It's also they're playing to his strengths, and
what, him dribble out
ELL
the box and score a worldie? Like, that's not playing to his strength. But I get your point to a degree. But like, I mean, it's just frustrating, because you're expecting Manuel Atlutd to just pull one of those out once in a while. Just be like, oh, here's a worldie. Because remember, I was worth 22 million. Sometimes I do that. But no, we don't see that. And I'm like, it makes me a little crazy sometimes.
He doesn't get the ball. Yeah, he doesn't get the ball in those chances to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And not to say that, I mean, that we've seen too much of it as far as his time here. I mean, yeah, the 5 early goals, I think we saw, what a very motivated and, I think fresh-ish Emmanuel Atlutd can do, but it's completely fallen off a cliff.
Asher, you have any thoughts on any that I threw at you there?
I mean, I don't even know if Atlutd could score on some of the teams that I play, and the fact that he's worth $22 million, that's more money than probably my entire family, my entire bloodline has ever gotten their entire existence. And the fact that he takes that much money and he can't score more than like 6 goals in a season, it's 7 last year. He hasn't scored all the season, and it's been 6 games. And the fact that, like, we're also not delivering to him, but on the off chance that we do, he can't knock it in. And I mean, I think that during the summer transfer window, we got to bring in somebody who can at least contest him, make him feel pressured, and hopefully be better than he ever could. And then we have that backup. It's not going to be Tokushi. It's not going to be Santos. maybe it could, but I don't think that those players are worthy enough to like contest him fully. Maybe Tokuchi, but we haven't seen him play a professional like that MLS minute in a while. So until Tata moves some more forwards up the rankings and puts way more pressure on ELL, I don't even know if he can perform because they perform.
Like
They perform well in the.
To your point about like pressure, it's like if he's already like this, and you know he has trouble maintaining composure under pressure, then you put more pressure on him. I don't think it probably makes it better. It's like concerning to me, and that's what I was saying about. I don't know why we're getting these players, and I get it. It's hard to find players who. It's like, how do you find a player that, you know, is killing it in the championship, and then you bring him over here, but then you realize he's actually never faced really adversity. Like, it's like you bring in a guy who's just doing nonstop winning at PSG, but then you realize he wasn't actually the guy doing the winning. Kind of like Arujo a little bit from Lille, what I felt like. He was like the bit player. He wasn't the guy, but we brought him in to be the guy. And then we realized very quickly he's not the guy. He's a guy on a team, and he needs a good team around him to perform. So, you know, with some of these guys that we bring in, I feel like we should be targeting the guy instead of the guy who's part of the team. And you can't bring over the team to play here. So find the guy who can be plug and play. Those are rare players, and they're hard to find, and they come very pricey. That's why I thought he would probably be that guy. But it, again, when you have a player who it's like you only see them succeed, I don't really know what he was doing before the championship, but when you see him doing so well, you don't really know what he's like when he's not doing well. And if you see a player who can bounce back in a bad time, I feel like, wow, that may be something we could utilize. Maybe prioritize that kind of aspect or trait in a player instead of just like, let's get this guy who's like, I don't know, only been up, and all of a sudden they've got their first taste of frustration defeat, and they become a Debbie Downer, negative Nancy forever now, and they just like, you know, prima donna themselves off the team. Like, I don't, it's very frustrating that we've had players like that.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't see that from Emmanuel Atlutd. I mean, you know, what Guzan and Emmanuel Atlutd mentioned in that podcast that they did together, it seemed like it was a bit different. It seemed like he actually is a pretty even keel type of player. Is he actually performing? That's the whole different story. But I think there's, you know, to your point about
like this is MLS. Like, I was about to go to the Premier League, so like,
it could be. But I think it's ultimately this too as well. You know, finding those difference makers. And yeah, you know, he was scoring double-digit goals, I think, in the 20s in the championship for Middlesbrough. But the difference is, you know, you look at Orlando City, they bring in Antoine Griezmann. It's just like, that's levels.
Yeah.
That is ever so frustrating, because look at where Orlando City are right now, and yet they're still able to bring him in, you know, and he is a World Cup winner. He is a player that, you know, does incredible things in clutch moments. And the fact that we're not able to bring in somebody like that, you know, at any point, because unfortunately that's what this MLS league has become. And I know that's redundant, but whatever. This league has become where you have to have these World Cup winners, these big names, along with some of these other guys. And I mean, it's just, I guess we try to do that with Miggy, but it's just, that's more on a nostalgic factor that we won't relitigate. But yeah. I mean, it's just,
we kind of misjudged that a bit, because I honestly think when we brought them in, he was not supposed to be necessarily the talisman. I think we were going to have other players that were supposed to be doing the heavy lifting, and he would just be an enhancement, like a guy who can bring up the bottom level of the team, you know, raise the flooring. But he ended up needing to be the number one, and he's just not that guy. So, Asher, any more, what was your kind of takeaways from the game, and Anything else you wanted to go over before we let you go?
Yeah, I feel like Fortune, he didn't do his best, but he obviously doesn't have the reps. I didn't expect a big thing from him. The loss isn't on him. And the players need to take from Tata in those last moments when he like verbally fought somebody. You got to have the only person with drive on the field felt like it was Tata. He might have had a little too much, but like we got to have somebody who can just step up and be a really vocal field player, whether it's Oyos, whether it's Miggy, whether it's Moranchuk. It could be anybody. We just need one or two players step up, and hopefully that can spread to the rest of the team. But if we keep going down this pipeline and we just keep passing the ball backwards instead of actually risking it and taking just a few drives down the field, if we had maybe 4 more drives down the field, it might have been 3-2 if we had stopped passing it back so far and just actually try to contest. Because constantly we're switching positions. Miggy came down into the midfield. Me and Bob played DM all the way up. Jacob did the same thing. I think that's what we're supposed to be doing, but they're just not doing it well enough. Because when we have that, and if we have a switch, like let's say Jacob and Miggy are on the same line, Miggy could drop back, get the ball, and then Jacob could run, cross in. That could happen, but we need something to give with a leader on the team, and we need way better chance creation and class from all these players. We know they're good enough to do better than this, but they don't know that themselves. And I feel like they're not going to feel that until they're up 2-0. They only felt it in the Philadelphia game, and the only time they perform well is when we're winning, which is not something you want from your team.
That's 100% right. That speaks to the mentality issues.
I mean, it's speaking on the leadership thing, and that's really what it is as well. I mean, yes, again, we all love Miggy, but the problem is he's not a vocal leader, and he's basically having to lead by example. And unfortunately, he ain't that guy to be able to drag the team forward as far as score the big goals, make the big assist. Like, yeah, it's every once in a while, but it's not where he can do this every other game. Like, we need not only that type of player, but we need leaders all across the pitch. And we need vocal guys. We need guys that will hold each other accountable. And I'm struggling to really identify who those people are.
Yeah.
I mean,
not a lot of big personalities on the team right now.
Maybe Mihai, maybe Gregerson, but so sure.
Gregerson's Norwegian. He's not going to be like Scandinavians are not known for being like vocal standout, I'm gonna like take the scruff of the game or the moment and like be American about it, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're typecasting an entire heritage of people, but yes, I think there are characteristics.
True, but they'll back me up. They will say it themselves.
But there's, I think, aspects of it where it's, yes, they are more blunt, and I think that aspect could be helpful. But I think there's, it really comes down to who's holding everybody accountable, and even Miggy. Because, yes, Miggy works hard, but then also sometimes he doesn't. And that's really where there are those moments where he's not tracking back and he's kind of leaving Baez out to dry a little bit because he does need that help. And it's dragging maybe Muyumba over or somebody else over, and then that creates space in the middle. And then, they are able to find more space because they've been working really hard trying to fill in all the gaps. I mean, it's like I'm mentioning, it's a vicious cycle that there is a little bit of star treatment here. And that's kind of what feeds into it. People feel like they're exceptions. And on a winning side, nobody's the exception. You don't track back and somebody scores on your side, you get taken off. Doesn't matter if you're the captain. Like that should be the non-negotiable. but I don't know. It's not something that we have. But yeah,
So
Asher, final thoughts.
we actually have a little bit longer with Asher. And while we have him, I'm gonna read a bunch of the stats from this game, and we'll go over a little bit of what that means. So the big chances tonight were 5-2 for Columbus, 16-7 Columbus for shots at a home game for Atlanta United. That is staggering. That should not be the
And
case.
on that, on the home game part, which it is Easter weekend, but not a lot of people went, and I don't blame them. But it is, there's not a lot of faith in the club right now from the diehards, but also the casuals. They know it too. It's not like I have a feeling, the front office and people that run the club a little bit here and there, they know what's going on, but they also probably were like, well, it'd be great if we just, fans cycle anyway, so if we just found the not negative fans that are new and the people that haven't been burned by the team yet. But that's the problem. Like, those type of fans don't really exist that much. You need the diehards to be able to let them know about the history. If they're just coming onto this, the atmosphere is slightly exciting, but once they actually dig into it, it's like you eat a burger and then you realize, okay, wait a minute, like, it's really rare in the middle, and it's like, it was like kind of good on the outside, but they actually didn't cook it all the way through. Like, that's eventually what it's gonna be. Like, the naivete from the front office and the people that run the club, I feel like at times there's an aspect of this that I fear, because it may not be true, but it certainly feels like it. It certainly feels like they're trying to find the new fan versus keep what they actually have.
Well, I guess they have to, right? I guess they have to. Because
people age out, all that, but it's extremely difficult, I think, to find new fans when you're in this kind of really bad form. And so they've done a poor job of keeping the actual diehard fan. And it's not because of the team form, it's because of the intangibles. And those intangibles, like I've mentioned, have gone away a lot. And now it's just like, what are they trying to do as well to keep the new fan? Because when the team first started, there were all these match day books. There were all these little keepsakes. There were all these little things that they were trying to do in order to lock in that fan. And a lot of people bought season tickets from that. By the way, if no one knows
about the match day books, I have one right here. So this is what they look like. It's a little piece of history, just in case, because yes, you're right. They don't have them really anymore. So.
And so it's really this too. It's like, how are these new fans supposed to know who these players are, what they're all about, what Atlanta United is even all about? So, okay, they might have some content here and there on their website, on their social media and all that, but large in part, who's supporting that? Who is propping that up as far as the actual culture of the team? The fans and content creators. And so it really comes down to a point of, they're doing a good job of, making content, but who is it for? We all love Brad Guzan, and his podcast, it's a fun listen. But who is it for?
It's for the dwindling amount of
I don't know
season
the
ticket
answer.
holders.
Yeah.
And the people who,
Because,
like me,
yeah, okay.
love the idea of what we were in 2017 and 18 and 19.
Exactly. So it's, he's interviewing Olympians. He's interviewing Clint Dempsey. He's okay. Who is that for? That's an honest question. Like, I don't think they know.
Yeah, well, I mean, with a team with,
And so,
of a club of this size, and if you can't figure out how to win on the pitch, you have to figure out how to win in other ways. And this is one of their ways to put out a very entertaining podcast with some stuff and some guests and stuff. So like they'll do these intangibles that are, superfluous, or like they're surplus to requirements essentially for a soccer club, because at the end of the day you want your team to win. I would exchange all these things to have a winning record, but in lieu of those things, we have that, and that's fine when you're doing okay or well. But it seems like you're kind of saying it's a bit of a band-aid and papering over things, that these accoutrements are coming out at times when the team is just really, really bad, and it tries to almost seem like a distraction. It's like, here, look what we're doing for you in these other aspects. So, all that to say, I enjoy the show and I'm happy it's there. Props to Brad who's in and everything, but it's, I can see why some people would be like, why would I care about this if the team is not doing well?
They don't even do the media that well either. I mean, you see some other MLS teams, like I saw a video in Minnesota the other day. They did like some trend with their twos where it was like, I don't even remember what it was, but it got like 100,000 likes and probably gained a few new fans. If we start doing some of that instead of just calling everybody by their full names on the first day of training and uploading it to YouTube, then maybe we'll attract somebody in. Yeah. But they're not doing it right. And I mean, the Bragg Zan podcast is awesome, but like that's really the only thing that we have, except for like the occasional TikTok maybe every 3 months.
Because it really is just, I mean, like, for what it's worth, what they're doing with some of the stuff is great. It's just that it's all nostalgia stuff. It's not new. It's not exciting about the future. It's just continuously, hey, remember Brad Guzan when he was good and when we did well and we won championships, and like, let's talk about that, let's think about that some, like, and that's fine. It's just, again, I would like to see a show or a podcast with a new player who, not like just being a guest on it, but being like, I don't know, something like you're talking about. Oh, he has an episode on YouTube about him doing something wacky or interesting, something that builds his character to the fans so they know like more about who he is and what he's about, kind of endears him to us. A lot of these players I still don't know that much about, and part of it is because I suspect there's not a lot of personality behind it. Not saying I'm just like overflowing with it, because I know I'm not, but I still think as a professional soccer club, you need some guys on the team with not just what we want to see as a spine on the field, but energy to talk. Like, I mean, for what Giakoumakis was, he had that. Jose Martinez had that. When they were on the mic, they spit, and other teams heard it, and we don't have that. When Latte Loft talks, like, he was fun to listen to in the interview, but like, I want him to get on the mic at a press conference and say, like, we're going to destroy this team we're going up against, like Giakoumakis did. Like, in the first game of the last season he was here, he's like, we're going to take it to him. Like, and unfortunately they didn't win, but they at least saw a fight for it. And then, he put some, he wrote some checks, and that the team kind of had to cash, but they just weren't really able to do it. But they at least tried their damnedest because they didn't want to, I don't know, let him down or something. But like, we don't have that. I feel like when I hear our guys talk out in the media, days, it doesn't seem confident. It doesn't seem like they have the killer instinct. It's like, all right, we're going to try again this week and see what happens. Like, that's what it feels like. And I miss having Jose Martinez get on ESPN talking with, some of the talking heads on there, and him go like, who's your favorite player in MLS? It's me. I'm the best, man. Like, I want to hear things like that, and we just don't. It's just none of that. Not even close.
Yeah, I mean it is. We've liked bravado as a team for quite some time, and it's been since the likes of Yakumakis. And there's other aspects too where it's these players, they look timid, they play timid, and it's not because of Tata. This preceded him, and so again, it really comes down to needing to really almost excise it out, for a lack of a better word, because there is something, or exercise it out, whatever the word is, but it is really, really tough to watch. But I wonder, for a casual fan, like, does this even interest them? Probably not. I mean, I was hearing it in the stadium where there were some fans that were, I think they were very, very new, because they were like, oh, that was a good play. Like, or, oh, like when Gregerson launched one forward and he put some curl on it. And they're like, oh, wow, look at the bend on that one. And it's just, yeah, you can maybe get that fan a little bit, but that learning curve for them and to actually hook them, it always comes down to winning.
Yeah,
it always does.
They're gonna really be interested when they see a lot of the better teams do things like that. Especially
exactly.
Miami and Messi come to town, I'm sure they'll be there. I'm sure they'll be at that game. A lot of the subsequent Atlanta United games, not so sure. But if they really like Steven Gregerson's bend, they sure as hell they're going to be watching Lionel Messi do it.
Yeah, I'm glad you said it right. But yeah, and
I know I'm not trying to trigger you anymore.
Yeah. But I think there's an aspect of this with Lionel Messi. Has he kind of ruined the league? I think there are aspects of it that he absolutely has. Because before he came, it wasn't really about, aging superstars or legends. Yeah, there were still some of them, Zlatan came in and, but
Gareth
they didn't
Bale.
do well. Yep, Gareth Bale. But that was Gareth Bale. I mean, he was on a, LAFC winning side, but he wasn't a massive part of it. He was just there for the final, and he absolutely did really well.
Worth
obviously, helped them win it. Yeah, absolutely worth it. And then he retired. Yep. Then he just focused on golf. But I think that's the aspect that has hurt the league, is because, you have the Thomas Mullers, you have, you have to bring in an aging superstar, and that's MLS 2.0, and it just kind of, it paints the league in this weird light that, the league's been fighting for over a decade, but then we went right back into it.
Yeah.
And yes, he's an incredible player, the GOAT, but there's only so many GOATs.
Yeah.
So that's the problem.
I think it's largely because they went back to that old well, because they saw what, the windfall was that Miami got when they went down that path to get Messi. So other teams are like, wow, we want that too. Whether or not it results in them doing better, they probably don't care as much as the fact that it gives them a lot more revenue. So I think that's probably what they're looking at primarily. I don't think necessarily they got Thomas Muller to be like, he's going to bring us the cup, because Messi absolutely can do that and has. But
yeah, although he almost did.
Yeah, he almost did. But I don't think they were like necessarily that's the prime reason.
They were favorites.
I think that their prime reason was like, if it seems to us, if you bring in a big name like that, in other markets and not just LA or New York or Miami, it works. You get butts and seats, you get a lot more money, and so they're just doing that instead of going with the like Thiago Almadas of the world, trying to invest in that, and then hope it pans out, which it did for us. But I think that they just think we need the money right now, and that's what we want to do. We're going to capitalize on these big name. We can put the headline of Thomas Muller versus Messi, Son versus Messi, big guy versus Messi is what they'll always do. Yep. And now we have Antoine Griezmann against Messi with the Florida Derby. So, it's just I won't go so far as to say it hurts the league significantly, because I think overall you'll see tremendous growth of the league based on him being here and his impact. But you're right, in some aspects it has made things obnoxious, for sure. I mean, just the Messiification of everything is kind of annoying, but yeah, I mean, there's definitely pros and cons. Asher, where do you weigh in on this?
I mean, I think that if we're to bring in somebody like maybe Memphis Depay or somebody who's just aging, and maybe even like Conte, but our also biggest competitor with that is Saudi Arabia as well. Mm-hmm. And until we can get somebody like David Beckham to lead the club, we're not going to really have money to get an old superstar. So what the club has to focus on instead is bring somebody in who we can develop and then bring in the next
Orlando and Vancouver both pulled it off. I mean, of course we know LA and Miami did, because of the reasons you're stating. But other teams apparently, I mean, I've always said, well, the coastal super cities like Miami, LA, the New York, these are places that these superstars know about across the world and want to live here. So they will take pay cuts to live there if they want to. Whereas I don't know if they're doing that for Atlanta. But now seeing them in Orlando and in Vancouver, now I think maybe so. Maybe there could be that happening for us too. So it's possible, but it's a hard sell. A lot of superstar national, international players, they'll know Atlanta as much as they know that that's the airport you fly through to get to LA.
I don't really buy into that it's the market as much, because it's really, you can sell the player on it, aka Muller, aka Griezmann. And it's one of these things where, as well, for Atlanta United, you've maybe even rewind 3 years ago, you can really bring in almost anybody you want, because there is this cachet. But it's dwindling now. I don't think it still is. It comes down to roster structure. It comes down to, we have spent poorly and now we're stuck and we can't get out of it, even though the likes of Miami and LAFC are able to, inexplicably. And so we're no longer the league darlings, so we're not going to get that special treatment to be able to get DP players on the cheap. And I mean, why we are stuck and where we are, it has to be said, it's part of the conversation. The roster flexibility has not enabled us to be able to get out of bad contracts. And that's partially why we look the way we look. Mm-hmm. Because, Tata knows, these players aren't good enough, mm-hmm. but he has to roll with it. And bless him for even, taking on this project, because he knows this year is probably a wash. But he's on board, and I've said this about fans. I think it's a good thing that Tata Martino got a red card in this match. Yeah, shows that he cares.
I think so. He's fighting for his guy, fighting for bias.
Exactly.
Asher, final thoughts before I let you go.
Yep. So I think that summer transfer window, bringing a forward, bringing a striker who can be somebody who can be better than Latte Lot. We've got to let Fortune get back on his feet a little bit. Maybe keep subbing him in, but he's not quite at the level. I mean, I can't blame them. Maybe let them run a few games to the twos before we bring them back up. Everybody just on the field looks mediocre, and that can't keep happening if we're serious about getting to the playoffs this year. If we had won this game, we'd be in a play-in game position, and then we'd have momentum going into Chicago. And realistically, when I'm looking at the next 5 games, I don't see us winning too many of them. Maybe Chattanooga, but I don't know if we could pull off a win against Chicago the way that we played tonight, the way that Chicago played tonight as well. So if something doesn't change very soon, which we've been saying this for probably a year now, something doesn't change very soon, we're just going to keep getting worse, and it's just going to be harder to climb out of this. So we've got to figure it out. Next game, or within the next 2 to 3 games, we have to have a plan. We've got to figure it out.
I think this game was the game to figure it out. I was pretty much like, this needs to be the pivot point. If we don't do it here, I don't really see it happening in the near future. So yeah, it was really concerning to me seeing this performance tonight. Asher, thanks for hanging out with us, bud.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yep, no problem.
Have a good one.
Talk to you later, dude.
Have a good night, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read some of the chat in a second, but we have another guest coming on, and let's see. Right. Comic the Footballer says, can anyone tell me what the point of Latte Loth is? Charlotte Jennifer says 6767. Comic also says, not only does Liverpool upset me, now I've got this. World Cup can't come soon enough. Joshua says, I hope
hope you're not a
team.
US fan.
Yeah. And Joshua also says, the forwards need to go. Need to get the forward out of here. And Gavin also says, I'm ready to hear AJ tonight. Hunch says, did we give Columbus their first win? We did. Matthew Wardigan says, hey, just tuning in. Yeah, we're bad. Yep, unfortunately. That was a stinker tonight. Huncho also says, man, Mateus was missed. For real. Sanchez was missed in the first half. I agree. They had something going with the time that they had playing together in previous games, and this game, you could tell there was just nothing there. Let's see. Charlotte also says, yes, I agree. Nick 3466, so many Nicks, said, I don't see any improvement compared to last year. Do you? Minor changes, but same boring play overall. I think Galarza is a difference maker. Outside of that, I see a lot of the same. So yeah. Drew says, man, we suck. I don't think there was a single player that had a good game. And I think we'll hear a little bit more from Drew later tonight. Tara Ferguson says, I don't understand why they don't try to win. I'm tired of them losing. Aren't they? You'd think they would be tired of losing too. But it is not as if they're not trying, because I tried to make that distinction earlier. You know, not having intensity and not trying. I think there's a difference, an appreciable one. But there definitely seems to be an issue there. Chris James says, need to go to 3 center backs. We have no wingers. Yeah, AJ kind of talked about that. He also says all 3 DPs are just not worth their paychecks. It's unfortunate. Yeah, absolutely. Seems to be the case. And it doesn't seem to be turning around either. Some of our other TAM players seem to be doing better, at least in my estimation, than our DP players, like Galarza, for instance. All right, so we are joined with Tommy from Scars and Spikes. How you doing, Tommy? Welcome to the stream.
Before you start, Tommy, your avatar was so happy with the beer and your Atlanta United shirt, and I'm just like, man, I would love to be that happy right now.
Me too.
Definitely am not. But go ahead.
No. Well, first off, I always got to start with this. AJ, your hair's looking perfect as usual.
Thank you.
I had put a hat on because
nothing about my
I got
hair.
a pro right now,
As
so
usual.
I had to
Checks
make
in
sure.
the
Thank you, guys. It's bad. It's
You're not going to hear any argument from us.
I don't really know if I can see the horizon, where it's like, oh, sunnier days are ahead. Not anytime soon, I feel like, but Yeah, what are your thoughts? Like, can we get out of this rut?
I don't think so. Unfortunately, at the moment, because the lineup that you have, you're still getting out of salary cap hell, which is the real question is, how did we get back into this? Because when Garth Lagerwey came in, we were in salary cap hell. He didn't know how bad it was. And then you had Garth here, and you figured we're in good hands now. We're gonna be good for. He's gonna responsibly handle the cap well. Everything's gonna be great with Garth. And then you learn to start the season that we're broke, and it's like, how do we get back here? And the last transfer window in the summer, I feel it at times that it could be a fireable offense, just the way that how that entire window was handled. I mean, I've been on an Alzate rant here for about a good 10 days, so just let me go for a second here. But like, Ronnie Dyla was on his way out. Like, in the summer transfer window, let's just say it was a 50 to 60% chance he was on his way out. Okay, even if 40%. Why would you sign a guy for 5 to 6 years, that long of a contract? I know it was to get around MLS salary cap rules and all of that, but like, he's a Ronnie Dyla guy. Ronnie Dyla wants him, and there's a very good chance he's not going to be here. So you're still going to bring this player in for this team, and then go out and get Barakal, who is much more expensive than the two young players that you had. But really, you got rid of Cobb and Morales because you needed to make somehow some money for this season. You had to get some GAM for this season to just be able to do anything. And if it wasn't for the U22 spots, like, you really wouldn't have been able to make much of an impact at all. And, you still have a lot of work to do here. And I keep thinking about these buyouts, and, I've calmed down with the buyouts that we haven't used one yet. But like, you have to have the right player available. You don't buy a guy out just for the sake of buying him out and then not have a guy come in for there. You don't have, the caps doesn't handle that well. But I've been saying, if you don't use those two buyouts by the end of this year, Chris has got to go. Chris has got to go, because that you need to be able to. You got 2 years with Tata, 2 more after this. Mm-hmm. Do you count next year as a full year? I don't know. Like, that's.
I know that's the thing. It's like, is it actually 3? Because we have the sprint season, so it's like.
I don't know what his contract says.
You maybe get 3 out of Tata, just out of technicality. So.
Yeah, I mean, they said that he's going to be here for the sprint and then the next season after that, which is great. Yeah. But if you don't use both buyouts, it's irresponsible, because you're basically just saying that you think that your roster is fine, and it's not. Yeah. Even if it's just something minimal of, let's just, even if you don't use it on a DP, you've got other players that are signed beyond this season that you could open up for the following year. And the fans, have been so patient that my worry here is, as you see pictures of the crowd today, I mean, it didn't look good, and it looked this bad. It didn't take it to get this bad until June, July-ish last season. And you've ramped that up. You have gone way faster than that after the 0-0 draw that you had here, and where you got some fans excited from the 3-1 win to Philly. Then you just take a huge dip down to that 0-0 draw, and then you go on the break and you come back, and now you have a 3-1 thrashing that wasn't even. It's not even attractive soccer. Like, you're not even getting that. And we were just talking about on Spaces that, like, you go and you look at last year around this time, I would have gave that team like a B-ish. I know they weren't winning, but they weren't. But they weren't scoring goals, but they were damn close. Like, remember that New England game last year, that terrible afternoon game where they ended up losing? I think it was like 1-0. Like, they should have scored like 7 goals, and they did score it. Miguel Almiron's banger didn't count. Yeah. But like, you thought that the goals were coming. The Miami game last year at home, like, that was a hell of a game, and it was just like, this is bad luck. This is bad luck. The ketchup bottles, you're going to shake it enough, and the ketchup's going to come out. The goals are going to be scored. And then it went to, they went on to that 2-game road trip, and it was completely miserable. It was after that, the season was over after those 2 road games, because it never got better after that. We haven't even had that besides Philadelphia. There's been no attractive soccer here at all. So I give, like last year, like I said, last season around this time, I'd give it a B minus, B-ish. This one, I would give it a D, a low D. Here, it's been that bad. I mean, do you give it an F? I don't know if is it Montreal?
We won a game.
So
it's not enough, but it is. It's damn close, and it's great points. I mean, it's just that hangover not only for the team and for the fans, but it just seems all over that they can't get themselves out of this mentality that whatever happened last year, last game, last minute, it just seems to cycle through and through. And it doesn't matter which players are on the pitch. It doesn't matter which coach is on the sidelines. It's just like this cycle just continues. It's Groundhog Day, and it just won't stop. Like I love Bill Murray, but I hate feeling like I'm living in that movie, because that is hell. That is honestly hell. And how we feel like right now, it feels very close to I'm not even sure I want, hell sounds better than this. And that's not even hyperbole.
Little bit of hyperbole.
I don't know. I don't believe in hell, so that's the whole thing too. But we can talk about that on another podcast.
I mean, I'll lend you Dante's Inferno. You can look at kind of how to describe.
Yeah, no, I've read it.
Probably worse.
I don't believe it.
Probably worse.
Yeah, but anyway.
I mean, what they describe.
A lot of that seems like fiction. Yeah, go ahead.
Is worse. I want to say something about what Tommy said. It really concerns me that I feel like we're doing a Thiago Almada type of situation where we have someone here at the club who is a difference maker and can get us to a promised land, and we are not able to get it together to allow him to bring us there. We're not having another Thiago Almada on the team for a long time, if not ever. Tata Martino, one of the best coaches in MLS, and if we squander his time here, whoever we get next is not going to be as good. So then we're just not going to be as good. It's just, this is the best time for coaching that we have. And if we squander it, we're not going to have as good a coach in the future, and it's going to be less. And it's that's why I was very frustrated. In Thiago Almada, we never saw any, silverware with him. And it just felt like a wasted time he was here for us. He should have been on a championship team. He was good enough. And then with Tata Martino, obviously we already won with him, but that's again, I don't want to squander the time that he's here. And I feel like of course, like you said earlier, AJ, this is a bit of a season that is a foregone conclusion. We never really expected to, really fix everything and do crazy things this season. Of course not. At least that's the way I see it. And I think level heads would probably see it that way too. And so this really eyes for next season, building towards that, and then maybe the one after. But he's probably gone after that. And if we haven't done something with that time, we're not going back to having a good coach of his level. At least that's my guess. And that concerns me.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Tommy.
Sorry. I would just say I'm more concerned long-term here for a while, because the signings that you've brought in all say Tata on them. A little less Chris, a little bit more Tata.
Yep.
And we've talked about the scouting department
for years.
What gave it away?
Was it the Spanish?
Yeah. And the scouting department has been a big part of the conversation since Garth Lagerwey came on. What is he going to change? What is Garth going to change? Well, he didn't change a whole lot. He added to some departments, the analytics department, he added to that, but the scouting department really hasn't had any major changes here. And then you look at the transfer windows that you've had, and you've had a couple things that have worked out. Giakoumakis is a good example of one, but it was a very short-term thing. I mean, every player that comes in, it feels like it's a short-term love cycle, and then they go to bad. But like when Tata leaves in 2 years, let's just say he retires, then you're just back to square one. And the only hope that I have is the hope that I gave to Garth when he came in, was that the new president comes in here and he looks at everything, whether it's Chris, it's analytics, it is everything. Yep. And making changes across the board, because we keep doing the same things. And it's like, you got yourself out of cap hell quickly, not quickly, but quicker than you can. And you were able to make the playoffs pretty quick with Giakoumakis and Almada. You still had some stuff to fix, but now you got to do it again. Now you got to be able to get this lineup here. And in 2 years, what are you doing? You're getting another manager in here. Well, how many are we still going to have players from Pineda that are here? And then you got a guy, do you have Alzate here from Ronnie's time here? And then you've got Tata's players here that maybe don't want to play here anymore because Tata's not here. And the culture's changed. Like,
we could have a Frank,
like you said, AJ,
where like the Argentinians are like, who's this guy? Why did you bring in a guy that's completely different from what we're used to, that we came in to play for, and now it's the whole identity is gone? Could be another situation like that. I mean, hopefully we learn from it, but damn, it could happen.
And that's my worry right now. Is it's just like AJ said, it's Groundhog Day, but you just keep doing this cycle over and over again of replacing, the GM, you're replacing the coach. And then you're replacing the DPs, and like the DPs are right now, I mean, they're difficult to move on. They have no value. Miguel Almiron was never going to have value coming out of here, and the fan base would have been, if you buy out Miguel Almiron, it's a different situation than Joseph Martinez. Your fans are going to be upset. Especially a lot of them don't understand, like, he's not good anymore. But he's Miguel Almiron. You can't just cut him. But that's what happens when you bring back a club legend and it doesn't work out. Like, you're going to look like the bad guy no matter what. And this summer's going to stay a lot.
This was my fear. Yeah. That, you bring in these club legends, and it continues with Tata Martino for me. I'm like, you basically tarnish their legacy. Like, they left and were heroes and excellent and pristine, and you come back and we tarnish them because we just made the wrong decisions, either using the coach in this case at the wrong time period. Like, would we want him to come in and see this as a project he needs to revive off of the operating table of a miracle surgery procedure, or do we want him to come in when we're already firing on most cylinders and he can just be kind of the thing that takes us over the top and brings us to the promised land? I probably would prefer the latter, instead of requiring him to work the unbelievable magic of resuscitate something like this. But here he is, and he's been given the job, and hopefully he can do it, but all signs are not pointing to that yet.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it when Miguel Almiron was about to come. I don't buy into the tarnishing of legacies and all that. It's like we still have their glory days with us. We still have those good times. It doesn't take away from that. It's just like, Back to the Future 1 is incredible, rewatchable. It doesn't take away that the third one is kind of awful, but it's one of those things where
I thought you were going to trash talk Back to the Future 2, and I was ready to fly to Atlanta.
You really should have, AJ. You should have said, it's kind of like how Home Alone 1 was really good, and then 3 really dropped the ball.
Sure. I mean, it's like Godfather. Godfather 1 and 2, amazing. Godfather 3, it was there. But that's the thing. It's like, it doesn't take away from my enjoyment of the first one and the second one. And so that third one, it exists, and that's fine. And so, yes, Miguel Almiron.
For me, it's not fine. It makes me upset. It gives me a bad taste in my mouth. So that's how I see it.
I mean,
I'd prefer
sure.
it not to have happened.
And, that is totally fine. I mean, yeah, if there was maybe another player that we could have brought in and he would have made the difference, I get it.
Well, like,
but
even if we just brought another player who failed, basically, like Miguel, I would have preferred that.
Yeah, but the likelihood right now, unfortunately, is high that if somebody comes in, like, we've mentioned it, it's a top-down fix. It's not a quick Band-Aid. And so one player is not going to drastically change the top-down culture that is absolutely just broken. And there are those little aspects. It's, what are we doing to try to improve like 1% every single day?
Is Tata Martino the guy to create the culture? And to Tommy's point earlier, is he here to instill a legacy, an identity, a thing that persists, and we don't do the let's go get Frank de Boer after he's gone and completely upend everything? Do you think that that's something that we're trying to do here? Is this becoming, after he retires, Tata FC into the perpetual future?
If he's not, he should be. That absolutely should be the ethos and the main focus, because it's not like he knows this season is a write-off. So when it comes down to, well, what can I establish that I didn't do the first time? Because let's be honest, that we are still seeing the absolute horrid effects from us not building a strong enough foundation. Because it is. We had an injection of GAM from being in the inaugural side, and a first-time franchise. And we've never been able to inject that much back in again. And I think that's the crazy part, is that we've made sales. We don't get our money back. And we don't get the actual GAM to actually do anything with it either. And so, in some ways, it feels really short-sighted to have been that team that it's like, oh, we want to change the league and we want to sell our players to other leagues for big profits. But what can you actually do with it? You can only get another DP in. It's not like you can fill out the rest of your roster with more TAM and more GAM for your players. It's, in so many respects, it did nothing. Okay, yeah, it upped the profile of the league. It upped the profile of Atlanta United briefly. But then what? What does it actually do?
Yeah,
it just,
considering we didn't win with him, that's the annoying part for me, because that's why you bring that guy in.
Yeah.
But you just we weren't able to do it. Squander the time that he was here. That's incredibly frustrating. So Tommy, do you think that Tata's legacy will continue on after he's had these 2 to 2.5/3 seasons here? Is that the goal here? Do you think that that's what's, or are we gonna just, is it gonna shift again to the whatever the next hot thing is the front office feels like doing?
I don't think it's fair to answer that until we hear from the new president. I want to hear what he has to say about Atlanta United, and will he be honest here? Because for years we were gaslit into, oh, this is a top 4 team. This is a top 4 team, top 4 team, top 4 team. And that was all that you heard over and over and over. And then it's like, guys, it's just cool to make the playoffs right now and then figure it out from there. That's okay to be able to do. But I need to hear from the president and saying what he, and obviously it's going to take him some time to get established. But what is your long-term vision here? And maybe does he talk to Tata and say, when you're done managing, we'd love to have you, in the front office. we'd love to have you here to help, convince some young players to come here. And we'll bring in a manager. You can help pick the manager, all of this. Get an extra mind in here. Everything that we thought about Garth Lagerwey, which is obviously different because Garth wasn't a coach or anything like that, but like you thought that he had a vision of what he wanted to do with this team, and the vision really didn't end up working out. Prime age players, no U22s. Like you go back and really look at it and say the moments that he had, there really weren't any big ones. And the moments that he did have, unfortunately, came to really come back and bite him. We're back, baby. Like that's unfortunately one of the big things that you're going to remember about Garth here is that, he was real high on these prime age players, and you've already gotten rid of one of them. And, Gregerson, I'm a huge Gregerson fan. He was terrible today. Yeah, I thought that he just had a terrible game. A lot of those just aren't working out right now. So that time there is not great. And, his buddy is now running the team. And that last window, like I said, I feel that at times it could be a fireable offense of how bad it is. Now, again, he's got Tata now helping him out here, which is great. But what's, God forbid Tata does leave and Chris is here without him. I mean, it's a little scary here. I thought, we keep hiring people that are, MLS veterans in front offices, and they're supposed to be able to run the cap, and we're supposed to be, playing, chess while everyone's playing checkers.
Right, for a little while,
there's a lot of teams.
Right?
It
seemed like he was fleecing a lot of people and stuff, but then all of a sudden,
Yeah, I mean, one of those guys, Paul McDonough, was one of the masterminds on not only us, but Inter Miami as well. But now he isn't allowed to be in MLS to that degree, and so there is that aspect where the actual, it's not the. It's that whole thing where, what they say anyway, if you're a leader, you want to fill out your team with not yes men, but people that will challenge you, people that will actually give some other perspectives. And I'm just not sure in our front office what that actually looks like as far as who's challenging who. And, is it just where, when Tata comes in, well, yeah, you're going to listen to Tata. Of course you're going to. But who's going to challenge Tata? Like, who's going to, like, it just, and it could be Culebro. I mean, he has a lot of success. And so, hopefully that level of pedigree can actually, if he needs to butt heads. And hopefully so. Because, yeah, Chris Henderson, he has somewhat of a pedigree, but is it always because he's been underneath someone else that had, a little bit more say?
It's a little bit of that Aruju issue again. He's the team player, not the guy.
It's the second time I've heard about Aruju today, guys.
Oh, exactly.
I mean, don't worry. I never bring him up in a positive light, so.
It's that bad of a game where Aruju has to come up multiple times, and when
we had a whole section earlier today talking about, because Tata very much laid into fair play to a lot of the press that was there tonight, talking about the mentality of the team, that the team lacks spirit is specifically the term he used. So yeah, and we know Aruju very much was a mentality kind of guy, and so that's why he was brought up. But yeah, that was the big theme earlier tonight. And I actually made it the motif of tonight. It was spiritual, because all of us were listening to Tata Martino talk about how, dude, we lack spirit. The team lacks spirit. The heads go down. The mentality goes away. So yeah, AJ said, let's get spiritual tonight.
What did he call him? Soft? Did he call?
No.
He did not call him soft. He said there was a lack of spirit, and then AJ, sorry, he said he said they were lacking soul. Is what what AJ was saying, and that's very similar.
It's a lacking of mentality, and the competitive spirit is what I mentioned. But my question to you guys, I'm gonna bring up Aruju for a third time. Would you take Aruju over our 3 DPs, any one of them, right now?
What, like in our world, like in our reality right now?
In our current team,
No, then no, absolutely.
would
not.
you take Aruju
No, because he
over
hates us.
Atlutd, over Moranchuk, over Miggy?
No, because we're not getting
Anyone.
We're not getting what is he on, Flamengo or something? What is he on? He's on Flamengo. So like, yeah, like we're not getting Flamengo Aruju if we bring him here. He hates us, so it's not
Oh, I
going to work
know.
out.
You're talking about Atlanta United Luis Aruju.
I
And
mean,
he
yeah,
scored some goals, bro.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going back to then and then have that player here now, as like a fresh start before the things went to shit, then yeah, I probably would take a swing at him over some of the guys, because like at this point, it's just a free slate, you know, a clean slate for a new player to come in and try their, you know, to restart the mentality, and because we already know we have a negative mentality of all these players. So if we get maybe a neutral right now, the worst that could happen is then he just becomes negative like the rest of them again. So like that's what I would go with.
Tommy?
I'm checking.
Yep.
It says replace Miguel Almiron.
Okay.
Oh. And see, that's the thing. It's like
one club legend for
you know,
another.
because this is, I think we're forgetting in some of those games when we were chasing a game, Luis Aruju was really, really useful on the left. He would spam in those crosses, and sometimes we would find ways back into games and sometimes win them from those. And so
I like the first game he
as much
played
as
with us against SKC. That was really exciting. And then he pulled his hamstring. And
Yeah.
it was just all kind of crap from that.
yeah.
I can't believe you ruined my Easter by bringing this up. Like even putting this question into the universe. What are you doing, man?
His night was salvageable until the third mention.
Blame Michael for bringing him up in the first place. I haven't thought about.
It's like the rule of Beetlejuice, man. You can once or twice is okay. 3 times you can't do that with Luis.
See, that's the thing. It's like Beetlejuice is at least, yeah, he's. I mean, it's a great movie at least.
Doesn't hold up very well, but Michael Keaton did amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he's not a pleasant person to be around, I'm sure, as far as the actual thing. But anyway, yeah, we're going off the rails on movies now. But yeah, how are we doing? I think we need to probably wrap this up kind of soon. So
Dude, I've been treading water because dude, Drew and Nick have been out partying and they've been wanting to come on the stream tonight, and they just keep saying, give me another 10 minutes. And I'm like, I think they might be just
Are they on the roof of the Reverb right now?
I don't know where they're at, man. They haven't reported in. They should have reported in by now. It's kind of like Luke on Hoth. It's a little concerning.
Right. It's been like almost 2 hours or something like that. I think we need to start wrapping it up. And but right, yeah, so Tommy.
Wait, while we have Tommy, let's read some of the chat, and then we'll get your and Tommy's reaction to some of these things. Let's see. Charlotte Jennifer says, let him cook. I don't know who you're talking about, but we'll let whoever that is cook. Modest Moose says, the booing after the third Columbus goal was the loudest boo directed at the team I've ever heard. Sam Jones, during the press conference, did mention that. I think it was him. One of the guys at the press said, like how does that make you feel, basically, that you've been in this stadium now where, like, just boos rain down? And yeah, there's some of the answers Tata gave tonight were a little bit like dismissive of it and deflective, which, you know, of course he's going to do that. But yeah, but he's not gonna. Props to asking that ballsy question, though.
Yeah, I think it'd be more hilarious was if, like, Sam Jones said, at one point I booed from the and it's just like, you know, and
good. Why not?
I mean, yeah, it'd be obviously unprofessional, but, you know, it's they're all fans too, so it's one of those things where, yeah. No, they do care, actually. You're not allowed to react at all. So.
All right. Well, I don't know if there's a camera on him, but maybe there is. Who knows?
Yeah.
Like, there's just, like, Johannes is just standing behind him going, like, I'm watching you. You not one boo.
Yeah.
Not one boo.
And he's just, like, vlogging himself booing in the...
And he goes to the bathroom.
So I was in the press box for Columbus. Star Wars night when it was like 5-1 in Columbus, and when the fifth goal went in, like all the Columbus writers started cheering, and I was like, I thought this wasn't the rules here, but I guess if you put up a 5 spot on Atlanta United, I guess you're allowed to. That's the rule. But
It must be because that doesn't sound right. But yeah.
So Five Stripe Carolina says, tough look if we go into June with our only win against Philly, but it's extremely possible that happens. Gina says, we can't know what it is in Tata's mind, but the supposition is that Cooper Sanchez did not start because he played 3 times during the international window. Yeah, that's probably true. Chris James says, Latte can't score if he doesn't get the ball. He's not going to break people down or link up. He needs to just be played in. That's true. That is 100% true by evidence of what we've seen and what we've kind of understood his profile to be when he came in anyway. So yeah, it is a little perplexing that, I mean, that's the thing. Like we were talking about this earlier, Tommy. Columbus was daring us to play him in, to play that way, to like kind of approach the game not on by the width and not by the middle, because damn it, if they didn't put down a solid mid block, you know, we were then forced to kind of just hoof it, and we just didn't. And when we did, it didn't connect. Latte has just not a good touch right now. Hopefully it can get better. And it just doesn't work out. So, I mean, they dared us to play the game that, for all intents and purposes, I feel like the team is at least trying to be designed to play like, and we just couldn't even come close to doing it.
Dallas did against DC today.
Yo, dude. Yeah, Dallas, what was it, 4-0 against DC at DC's home, and we failed to score a goal? Like, that's rough. That's rough.
Really even create like chances either. Like that was probably one of the worst games I watched last week since like the Open Cup games from a few years ago. Like those games were so bad.
Oh yeah.
And that reminded me of it. Yeah. And if it wasn't for Alexi scoring that goal, I mean, I would have felt the same way about this game, because it was, you know, be able to at least give the fans a show. Exactly. Like I said, that's why I gave them a B last year at this time, because they were creating chances. It wasn't working. And then all of a sudden, and it seems like this just happened earlier this year, specifically in the DC game, that's like people have figured us out. And there's just no way that we're going to be able to really create any chance. And if it is, it's got to be a broken up play. And hopefully that it happens. And, you know, luckily Alexi was there to be able to get that in there and get the rebound and shoot it in. But I mean, you spend so much money to go to these games though, man. And you can't even give the fans anything.
Yeah.
I think the one positive there is that they are crashing the box. So there have definitely been other chances in this match where there weren't really that many runners or that many players inside the box. So I think that part is repeatable. It's if the players are brave enough to actually crash the box.
Yeah.
I mean, we did it once.
Yeah.
But the problem is, there's not enough bravery. There's not enough courage from most of the players during the match, because it all compounds really. Yes, like something goes wrong. Okay, I don't want to. The fans that are here, we don't want to hear it from them. You know, it starts to get really negative. Okay, we'll just play it safe. And meanwhile, you have some forwards that are actually making runs, but then they're not fed. And so they're more timid. So they're not going to make the runs again. It's just this thing that just keeps happening. And it's just, like I'm mentioning, it's just how do we get ourselves out of it?
Yeah.
It is that Ted Lasso thing where be like a goldfish. But I don't think anybody has that mindset at all.
How do you scout for that? That's so. I've asked this question so many times. Like, how do you scout for guys who are like they have such resilient mentality? And like I hinted earlier, it's like you find a player who has been in situations of adversity before where things are just not going well, and they found ways to figure it out, and they didn't let it crush them. And that's hard to do.
You get winners. You get proven winners.
Well, proven, right?
On
And
the
proven is the point, because like you can get winners like Emmanuel Atlutd, who was winning and scoring and doing the things you're supposed to do like fucking crazy, and then you bring him here, and then it's that. This
Not a
comment
proven
is
winner.
hilarious. Is that 5 straight Carolinas? ELL is USL championship talent at best. Proof that just because you play in Europe doesn't mean you'll boss this league. I'm not sure that's accurate. I'm gonna be 100 with you right there. Don't think that's an accurate statement.
Yeah, it really is. I think he would be killing the USL championship, but he also has to get service.
Yeah, I was like, what if
he
MC's service?
Yeah, he has to have somebody that like telepathically at least knows what he wants to do, where he likes the ball, and you know, I haven't seen really. I mean, besides that Brooks Lennon ball to him at the back post, where you know it was an early ball where it was also either to his head or to his strong foot, and he didn't have to take multiple touches. I can't really think of it. There's not really been a time where, as well, you know, maybe something on the. I think this is a goal that Jose Martinez definitely scored a bunch, but I think that Latte can score. It's that front post run from somewhere from the left side, you know, where you lose your marker and somebody get to the byline. It's not like easy, but it is. He basically just has to tap it in.
Yeah.
I think he has the pace to do that.
So he's
But
the
we haven't
ultimate
seen-
poacher, and we don't. We need a guy who can do more than that, I guess. All right.
And that's why I think
mean-
Arujo could do it over Miguel Almiron, unfortunately, because Miguel doesn't have any speed left at this moment.
Yeah.
Like I just don't think he's got the speed of what's there, and I think Tata wants to play fast.
Yes.
I think he does, but he doesn't have fast guys. But Lexi Moranchuk, I could probably outrace him, and that's sad. I got a terrible back.
Dude,
but like,
me and Asher went on a rant earlier tonight about that. Like, if I can outrun you on this team, even in like a bald sprint, that's just come on, that's not good.
But okay, Michael, you don't have the wand of a left foot that Moranchuk does. Let's
oh
be
no,
real.
It's not. I mean,
One.
it's not Moranchuk that I'm really like having the issue with. It's the other players.
Sure. Yeah. And I think that's really what it is, though. I mean, it's like, you know, it's a common thing to say, like, oh, you know, I feel like, you know, I could outrun my grandma, could outrun all that type of stuff. Like I said at the top.
Yeah.
It's just, I get it, but I think we can do better. That's all I'm saying. Is that because it really is where like these players, they have their flaws, but they are still useful in some aspects.
Yeah.
So how do we find the best uses?
And no one runs as
of all
fast as the ball. So that really should be what it is. Like
Exactly.
you just pass well and have good chemistry. It doesn't matter if you have the fastest players in the world on your team. But we keep constantly getting in positions where we screw up and then we get beat on pace because we put ourselves in those positions. So interesting comment from Connor, friend of the show too. He's come on here once or twice. He's a Crew fan. He says Arfson goal should never have happened. Really, somebody let Moriera play the long ball to Herrera, and he just skipped it in Darson, and nobody got back to cover Herrera. Yeah, I mean, that was a very serious defensive breakdown. A lot of walking, a lot of standing around, a lot of ball watching for that goal, and it was tough to watch.
Yep. It really was. It's like you were mentioning, Tommy, Gregerson, like larger part didn't have a great match. And there were those moments where he was ball watching or he was waiting to see if it developed into something. Because there was one moment where I like zoned in on him where I think it was Jakob, like there was a kind of loose ball and he was basically watching to see if, okay, do I have to run back? He's like, oh shit, I do have to run back. And, you know, Columbus is really toughing it, like really trying to get in that box. And it's late. It's like, you know, late 80s minutes. And Gregerson has to, you know, pretty much chase his guy down. Luckily, it didn't amount to a goal, but that pretty much was the microcosm of his night. Like, some of those moments, he was there. He made a really strong tackle in the box to prevent one of the shots. But beyond that,
I think it got a little bit in his head when he got straight up bossed from the first goal with that header. Yeah. That was kind of a dagger. Big breaking news: Chris James 483 sent 5 gifted memberships to people in the chat. Skills 1157, Isaiah Paskins, Glenn Meadows, Jamie Jared, and Paco all got gifted memberships. So appreciate it. And if you want to spend money next time, buddy, we do have a Patreon, and all that goes straight to us. So yeah, instead of YouTube taking a cut of it. So yeah, appreciate it anyway, and that's awesome. Hope you guys enjoy those memberships. So Connor also says Messi has 100% ruined this league. That's all I see anymore. Messi this, Messi that, and that's coming from a Crew fan. And also Chris James says, I hate that these older guys are coming in. Tommy, earlier we were talking about how perhaps Messi ruins the league, and that he's brought in a new age of, going back to MLS 2.0. You're getting all the agent stars to come here again, like they did before, but this time with a vengeance, very much so. And you feel like you need to do that now in order to compete. Look at Vancouver, LA, Orlando now too. So who's the next one? Who's going to get another big guy? Because apparently it's not just those extremely attractive cities that they want to retire in anymore. You could go kind of anywhere, so could be us.
Yeah,
like,
probably our base. Yeah, we don't have that, but
we'll
that's
figure it out. We'll get rid of, I don't know, someone who's being paid a lot.
Yeah, but look at like Higuain when he came in. Like, the guy was terrible. Everybody was running around him. Like, you just got to get the right guys. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Some of them are going to come over, but like the teams. I mean, the U22 spots have helped, but you've been bringing some decent young players over the years, and unfortunately, that's quality TV for a lot of people, and that's what Apple wants. They want to get people. Well, you don't get a subscription MLS anymore, but just signing up for Apple TV in general is there. I didn't even see, did Messi tie? I know it was 2-2. Was Messi the tying goal too?
I don't know if
I didn't get.
It might have been Luis Suarez. I don't know if Luis scored the second or first one. I don't remember. I just saw some.
Oh, well, if that's true, that bites.
Yeah, I think it was an assist from their new striker from Monterrey to Luis Suarez. I believe was either the first or second goal. So.
You didn't even get my joke when I said this bites.
Okay, yes, the ear. I know now. I'm deep in these comments here. This one in particular, Antara Moody says, did Pele ruin the NASL with the Cosmos? Just asking. I think there's an argument to be made about not necessarily Pele, but players like him, overstacking certain teams and making basically other teams that just can't afford those players fold.
Yeah, I mean, there's an argument. Yeah, I mean, having not been alive during that, can't really say definitively. I think either of us, any of us, can say that. I think the structure of MLS was set up in such a way to avoid those pitfalls. So, for sure.
And what are those pitfalls? What is the structure that's specifically different? A salary cap. What does a salary cap do? Limit the massive players coming in and all top loading on one team. So I think that they correctly identified the ailments that were fatal to NASL and then tried to patch that.
Right. But I think we're getting to a point where, these clubs are rich enough to be able to spend what they want to spend to be good if they want to be good. Yeah. And I think that's, the difference is back then I think there were people that were just happy to be there and happy to have a team versus now, you still kind of have that large in part, but because most of those other owners are just happy to pick up the profits,
right?
From the league being just you buy in and you do have Messi there and they just share the profits. Okay, cool, whatever. They don't have to the once or twice that they play Messi Well, yeah, they'll get that money from the ticket sales, and that makes it hand over fist for them
Yep.
because they probably, I mean, like what Arthur Blank spent what? Like, if I recall, it wasn't that much, and especially for the other clubs back then, they spent probably less than 10 million, and yeah, now they're just it's on a
Ridiculous.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
The profits are just like, why not?
Yeah.
Like they're an NFL owner, and then they just the New England Patriots owner, case in point, big case in point. He doesn't care about the revolution, but does it make him some profits? Yeah, he's happy for that. But yeah. Anyway.
So Mike in the ATL says Galars has become a favorite. Latte continues to disappoint. I was really hoping they'd cut him. Miggy is still concerning. Team ATL says I think that is Nick in the Nick 17's dad. So how you doing? He says, how do you fire a whole team? That's a good question. Unfortunately, MLS, turns out you can't. Matthew Wardigan says, call me crazy, but I'm a Moranchuk believer. I think he's a great player on the wrong team. I think we're seeing that. Because it seems like he can be the only bright spot sometimes. And so when you see that happen, you kind of have to you're forced to the conclusion that he will probably shine regardless of the pile of dirt he is found in. So, and in this case, it's in Atlanta. Huncho says Tommy, so he sees Tommy on the screen. Not your amigo says Latte is lazy like the team. Everyone watches and makes no runs or creates. It's so stale. Andre Mixif says if we lose, no one should get the golden spike. I hear this a lot. A lot of people talk about the golden spike of excellence, and they're like, this is a ridiculous thing that we do when we don't do well. What are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I've said this a lot, and this is the problem. It's a sponsored thing, so they have to do it. And so it doesn't matter. Like, Almada didn't get some of those sometimes because he wasn't old enough. He wasn't drinking age. So it ultimately, I hate it. I absolutely hate it because it's talk about participation trophies. That's the epitome of it at a pro level. And I mean, whoever wins it doesn't probably feel good about winning it either. They're probably like sheepish. They're like, oh, man, like, okay, well, it's a chance to get face to face with the fans, but otherwise, this is kind of embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like, it just ultimately, I think there's better ways we can find sponsorships, but
Tom, are you on the record about your opinions for the spike of excellence?
It looks so sad most of the time. Like, they take a picture of it, and I'm like, oh god, they just don't want to be here at the moment. Just get them home, get them in the locker room, let them shower and leave. Yeah, I feel bad for some of them. They got to take the picture and all of that, and like you said, like with the fans, but like if it was sponsored, since it's sponsored, like they'd have like 3 last year. And you're not getting your money's worth there.
Exactly. So they have to do it, and it's this like sheepish thing at the end of the day that it just it doesn't look good for anybody, and so it's just like like does the actual sponsor actually want to be part of that? I don't think so either. So just get rid of it as far as the sponsor, and
they
do
probably
it
have to
when
like re-up before. Or like they probably re-up before the year, and they just hope that the team will be good again. So when they give the spike excellence, like people will be hyped about it, and then it just hasn't been that way.
Right. I think it used to be Michelob Ultra. It probably still is, but either way, it's like you gotta be drinking age. So okay, yeah. So if Cooper Sanchez has an incredible game, he definitely can. So it's one of those.
Andre,
so
they don't have a non-alcoholic option.
I know, seriously.
I'm sure Michelob has a non-alcoholic option. I'm sure they do.
Well, you can't. I guess you're still not allowed to drink a non-alcoholic at 17 or 18, whatever. You're not supposed to.
Right. Exactly.
Andre makes it
Mountain Dew or no Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, jump on in.
I don't think they want any part for some reason. It just seems strange. Besides, like, the actual beverages in the stadium, but people have been calling for Coca-Cola to be, the front of the kit sponsor for years, but
Yeah, I think Coke's
that
too
ain't gonna.
big to do that. They're like we sponsor a league type company, not a team type company. I feel like.
Well, to be fair, I think they sponsored Club America
Well,
back
so
then.
what I
But
so I don't know if this is true, but what I've heard, the reason why that is because I remember when we played like Motagua in Honduras, they had like
mm,
Pepsi all over their jersey, and I was like, how do you land Pepsi? And then I realized when you see those sponsors on those jerseys, a lot of times it's not like the corporate entity, the company that's doing it. It's a franchise manufacturing group that is doing it in that area that team is from. So it's not necessarily that the company actually is putting whatever behind it. It's that this it's like as if like McDonald's are like
yeah,
franchises, and if like there's a McDonald's nearby, they decide to sponsor you instead of like McDonald's corporate.
right. It's like the Ponce McDonald's is the front of the shirt sponsor. Yeah,
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 that's
I
like
get it.
kind of what it would say. Like it was like the Coca, like like bottling plant 731 Coca-Cola sponsors the Atlanta United jersey or something like.
Right. Yep.
So yeah,
Awesome.
Andre makes this as Latte Loth isn't a killer. Why is Saba coming off the bench? You guys want to handle that one? Why Saba is being called off the bench and not being
Yeah,
started? I guess is what
he
the
hasn't been
alternative is.
producing either. So
Yeah,
that's kind of been his issue. And the thing is, he doesn't cost 22 million, so he's not going to be starting. Unfortunately, that's he doesn't cost 8 million. He doesn't cost what did Moranchuk cost? Like 12.
I think it
Like,
was
he doesn't
12.
cost any of those things. So that's it. That's the issue is that and his salary isn't that high. So yeah, unfortunately, it would upset apple carts, and it would also, you pretty much are in this case of okay, well, do we want to see if our asset that is, one of the three highest on the club can actually come good or not?
Yeah, but I mean, like even if it's like a competition discussion, he hasn't really covered himself in glory when he has come on. So like he hasn't made the argument for himself. So I think that's why you're also seeing that. It's not so much because like I think everyone would be stupid. Everyone would feel themselves going crazy if every time Saba came on, he was absolutely lighting the world on fire, and the guy that was starting is just pooping his pants every time. It would be like, well, obviously start Saba then, but that's just not the case here. And I think we all see that. And unfortunately, I think the writing is on the wall for Saba. He's a bit of surplus to requirements for the team, and he just hasn't been good. It's sad to say because he's definitely a kind of like a lifer, right? He's a guy who really loves the team and really tries his damnedest every time. You see him have passion. You see him really care. But I do think the writing's on the wall for him, unfortunately.
He didn't score an MLS goal last year, I'm pretty sure. I think he scored
I believe you're right.
in Leagues Cup. He scored a goal, or maybe that. Yeah, I think he scored one, and one was an own goal because that's what Saba does. But yeah, he hasn't scored
One,
forever, and he hasn't looked good, and it's frustrating because he was on fire when he came in here, and yeah, he's just I joke around about this, but a lot of people after they have kids, they they struggle a little bit after.
I am low key starting to see a weird correlation to that with soccer players, and it's starting to make me nervous when I see it now. I don't know if there's anything to that, but man, it's a little concerning. It's a theory that's I'm collecting data for in my brain subconsciously.
yeah, I mean, because okay, let's look at it. Let's look at it, right? Just real quick. It's a very small sample size, but Saba, Araujo, Joseph Martinez, just to name a few.
Yeah.
Didn't Mihai have a kid recently?
It might have, but I mean, I think that's a little too short of a timeline. We don't really know how good he actually was going to be. So, yeah, that's a tough one, but. Yeah, I mean, Julian Gressel. I think he's been about the same. Just
I
haven't
don't
been for us.
think we saw a drop off of him, honestly.
Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just something I'm tracking because I'm just like seeing it more and more, and it's like kind of bothering me. So I thought,
especially the first year.
I thought I was the only one like clocking that, but I guess that's interesting that I'm not.
I mean, you know, like recovery is important.
As someone who has 3
like
young kids, it's,
you know as much.
I can't like function normally as just a not doing a professional sport. I can't imagine how hard it is to do a professional sport.
Imagine, exactly, playing 90 minutes of running and kicking and fighting with people and all that type of stuff and training all week. It's it's tough.
Drew says he is alive and he's driving home, but he also says, damn, we do need that transfer window. Thanks for checking in. He also says props to Edwards for looking like he gave a shit when he came over to the fans at the end of the game. Yeah, props to him. I've always liked him. I've been happy with him every time I've seen him play. So I hope he factors into the club long term in the future. Matthew Wardigan also says, it's my first time with season tickets because I'm here for the long haul. You know what? I hope
more power.
This is the start of when things turn itself around and you are here for the good times. I hope that that's the case for all of our sakes, not just yours. But yeah, I mean, this might be a rough time to start, considering it's been the worst start to club history.
Well, hopefully there's like a karmic turnaround or something, and it just suddenly, because his juju, now everything's gonna come good.
That's the dream, baby.
Thank you, Matthew Wardigan, for turning it all around for us.
Yep.
All right, guys, get your last comments in here before we head out. We're going to be closing up shop soon. Tommy, why don't you give us our... Oh, actually, you know what? Tommy, if you have the time, we're going to keep you around a little bit for the dreaded wheel for tonight. AJ, you ready? I think we have Nick on it too,
I'm ready.
Even though he's not here. I think we're going to put him on it anyway.
Oh, I think he... didn't you eat a pepper last time I was on here?
He ate a pepper. I made him eat.
I think you did. You did. And you took it like a champ. I remember. I was impressed.
He's good at these things, and he also historically gets weak peppers. I'm just saying. So.
Oh, come on.
Oh, wow.
It was the Japanese. Like, I want to see you eat the Japanese one.
I've eaten them before. They come in like every
Have you ate the chip?
Dish. No, we haven't done the chip. I offered the chip at one time, and he just said, I don't know if that's a good idea. So.
It's like $20. I don't think it's worth it.
For one chip. I mean, it is a novelty nonsense thing. I mean, you could get the same effect by just buying like a hot pepper, like a significantly hot pepper, like a Carolina Reaper pepper.
Yeah, because I think I bought, and it was was it a Reaper?
But I will say, just to clarify, like AJ is extremely good with spicy stuff. So even if you get like the hot stuff, he will probably handle it like a champ. So I will say that. Because I've eaten hot stuff from him before, and I have a decent tolerance as well.
Yeah, whatever that sauce that you had at your last watch party, and I accidentally dumped a lot of it in my meal.
You. That was Ghost, baby. That was African Ghost pepper.
Ghost. Yeah, and it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you have a manageable amount, but dump too much, you can really mess with you.
It was like 5 drops, unfortunately.
How are you? You've done some of that stuff, right? Tommy?
Oh yeah, I enjoy hot.
Nice.
But like I did the hot sauce challenge or whatever, like the hot ones. We did all of them. I got to the bomb, and I remember we had ice cream, and I was like scooping it like out with a finger, like I was like a raptor, and just like putting it in. I don't handle it as well as others do, but yeah, it was. I remember I had to sleep.
Made to be a thing that humans should eat, so it's just not like.
Yeah, that thing's good. That's just like tin.
It's
like it's just metal.
Yeah, it's like the point of it.
I had to sleep on the couch.
Oh, you did?
Oh yeah, everything that was coming out of me was terrible. Like for about a good 24 hours. So yeah, no.
Yeah, you gotta. Well, you ate it with stuff too, right?
Not on an empty.
Yeah, it was on wings. Yeah, it was like on. It was on like chicken nuggets. Yeah.
Yeah, because some people just do it like raw dog it, and it's just like, like that's how you mess up your stomach.
Yeah, you gotta coat too.
You gotta. Exactly.
All right, so we got the wheel
That's
up here.
what- yeah.
We got AJ, me, and Nick. Let's see who it lands on tonight. Oh, not me. Is it AJ? Is it AJ? So it's it is AJ this time again. Was that 3 in a row? Is it 2?
Oh
2 or
my
3?
god. Outrageous. It's 3 in a row. Yeah.
In a row.
I need to do my comment
Lucky.
in ASMR, but again, I'll do it. I'll do it next.
Yeah.
It's
You want
not-
to tell Tommy about what that is?
Wait,
Sure.
which one?
The commentary ASMR?
Oh, the commentary.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what ASMR is?
What's that?
You know what ASMR is, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Listen to it
Yeah.
every night before
So
bed.
basically, yeah. So basically, I have to like pretty much do all this analysis, maybe like a couple minutes, in just like ASMR speak, and basically nice and quiet, but kind of sensual. and
like you got hired
careful.
at NPR.
right for people's
Oh.
listening pleasure. So yes, I'm a little sick, so I think that really doesn't, doesn't really do that much. It just sounds like I'm a little bit sick right now, so a little groggy. But so yeah, I'll do it when my voice is back to normal.
So Beavis and Butthead did ASMR, and I
Oh
will
my
tell you,
God.
it's the funniest thing. Like when you're done here, look it up. But like, yeah, they're watching it like an ASMR video, and it is the funniest thing I think I've ever seen. It was the first time I've ever actually saw it, so like I didn't know what it was, and it's just
Cool.
he's like I kind of like this. I kind of like this Butthead, and then he like smacks him real slow, and
That's
but
wild.
check it out. Everyone, yeah,
And of
check
course
it
they
out.
laugh.
It's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
They
yeah.
laugh in the ASMR thing, right? Yeah.
I can't imagine. Like it's when you see something so old crash into something very new and modern. It's very interesting meeting of worlds like that. Did we pick what was the last one that we wanted on the wheel for this one? What was it? I forget. Did we ever decide that? Because we got
We
We got
did.
Yoda voice for 5 minutes. We got random object comparison, fake sponsor ad, and then shouting out "I love Adam's John" in public somewhere.
Spicy challenge.
Spicy challenge on that one. Okay.
Did you say Adam John?
Yeah, Adam's John. Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Oh wait. Give me 1 second. I think we solved this already, and I just forgot. Let me
Oh
see.
yes, we
Yeah.
we gave our patrons a choice. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the Patreons picked the what should we be punishing? Oh, it's the. Okay, I gotta tell you about this, guys. All right, so they had picked a. Do you know what red ass is, Tommy?
I don't, and I
So,
don't know if I want to know, but
You do want to know. Trust me. This is safe, PG. You'll be fine. All right, so
okay.
basically, red ass in soccer terms is like it's a game that you play for fun sometimes, where you people just like you turn your back to someone kicking soccer balls, and someone just kicks a soccer ball, tries to hit you in the butt, and then the idea is like when it hits you, your ass would turn red, and the idea is like you go back and forth, whatever. So one of the punishments that we've traditionally had on the show is like if you get that one, we would go out and film it for like me, Mark, or someone, and we're just like trying to shoot it at AJ's butt or whoever has to do it. And then that was fun. I decided to try a new variant of it recently, where it's basically you have like 5 soccer balls set up, and each one of them has like a number 1 to 5, and someone goes up to shoot it at the person who's not facing the balls, and then once they shoot it, the person who's being shot at has to guess which number of that ball that was shot. So if they get it wrong, the shooter takes another one and does the same process over again, and they go through all 5 if they keep getting it wrong. But if they guess it right, they can stop. So that's the variant that we're trying to put up for that one. I think it'll be fun. So we got red ass on there. Let's hit the wheel and see which one it lands on. It's not gonna be red ass. It's another. I think we already did one of these ones before, but it's a fake sponsor ad read. So
Okay.
AJ's got to come up with a new product for everyone at home to talk about and to try and sell and pitch. I don't know what you're gonna come up with, so We'll see.
I don't know either, but we'll make it happen.
So anyway, guys, yeah, if you want to be part of that, join the Patreon, and you will get a say and vote on what appears on the wheel that we have to do. Eventually, I don't know when it is, but the next Orlando game, when that comes up, the paint your face purple one will come up again. And I got that last time. That was interesting. Hopefully we don't get it again, but it would be fun to see someone else get it, like Nick or AJ. So,
I mean, it was very adorable that your daughter painted your face. So, I think it should be.
If I'm gonna be going through something like that, might as well let someone else have fun with it.
I insist.
All right, let's check to see if there's anything else from anyone. So Drew really wanted Nick to get red ass tonight, and unfortunately that did not happen, but maybe next time. Matthew also says, I was at the MLS Cup game, but now I have a real job and I can afford it. Okay.
Congrats.
So yeah, congrats. Moving on up. So yeah, with that, everybody, that's pretty much it. Thanks for closing things out with us tonight, Tommy, and hanging out until 12:48. It was a long one. A lot of people had a lot to say about this game tonight. It was very frustrating.
This was therapy for a lot of people.
Well, happy Easter to anyone that celebrates.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
If you like bunnies, that's your thing. Whatever.
If you like bunnies.
Yeah, my daughter's big into bunnies, so like this is
Incredible.
huge for her.
Yeah. Or if you like eggs, if you like hiding eggs, yes, totally. Those are all very acceptable answers for Easter. But
so real quick,
all right, guys.
All right, one second. Hold on. You guys kept me here way longer. I gotta keep you for one more thing. So real quick. So earlier in the week, my dogs were pulling up something out of the yard. I didn't know what it was. Well, it was like there was a bunny, and he was stuck in like a wire fence. And it was a fat little baby bunny. So his butt was stuck there, and my dog was trying to pull it out of the fence, and it was a total cartoon thing. So they fled. They're gone in the neighborhood. We saved them. But middle of spaces tonight, my dog's face is in the hole, like deep into this hole. And I thought I was on mute, but man, I don't know what Spaces caught me saying, but I said a lot of F words to her because she came in muddy. She's like a white dog, so she had mud all over her. It was a whole thing. It was an adventure, but that's not what you do on. Yeah, like trying to kill a bunny on Easter Eve. Like, what are you doing?
I know that's blasphemous.
What are you doing? Right.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta teach your puppy about the inner workings of Easter.
Yeah, respecting other people's religious cultures.
Incredible. Well, thank you for sharing that. Appreciate it. Indeed. Well, yes, Tommy, thank you so much for hanging out, and everyone else that has hung out until 12:50 on Easter Sunday. But yes, for Michael, for me, thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you in the next video. Good night.
Hey, everybody.